I beg to move that the Prevention of Trafficking in Persons Bill, an act to give effect to implement the protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children, and to provide for matters connected therewith and incidental thereto, be read a second time. Yes, Mr. Speaker, as I was making the point, having come out of the Select Committee, this bill which is before us, I don't want to say a great deal because we are all very familiar with its contents. And we have had a lot of debate in several meetings of the Select Committee, at which all members made very valuable contributions. Mr. Speaker, but a few matters in relation to policy. Even though we are bringing a comprehensive bill regarding the prevention of trafficking in persons, the issues which have been addressed here are not issues on which the existing law is silent. There are several provisions in the criminal code which touch and concern some of these matters. But obviously, it was necessary and desirable for us to put in place a comprehensive law which follows the protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children. And that particular protocol forms part of the bill as the schedule. So it is incorporated in the bill. Mr. Speaker, there are several governments in the world which have been pushing to address this issue of trafficking and to suppress trafficking. USA, Canada, countries in Europe, other countries in other parts of the world, including here in the Caribbean. Even though the Caribbean does not have extensive quote-unquote trafficking, but one instance of trafficking is one instance too many. Of course, we have extensive trafficking in the United States, but they have had the laws to address it and the institutional supports. And we passing the law now have to put the institutional supports in place to make this particular act effective. And all of these carry a cost, but it is certainly a cost which a civilized society ought to bear. And we are prepared to bear that cost in respect of the implementation of this bill when it is passed into law. Mr. Speaker, we have been cooperating very much with a number of agencies in several countries in the world, including the United States of America. And it is a matter which obviously we require tremendous cooperation, not only intelligence between the intelligence services of the respective countries, but also immigration, which is very critical in this exercise. And I'm hoping that these various institutions would work even closer so that those who are engaged in this criminal and nefarious trade of trafficking in persons, that it would come to an end. The trafficking in persons takes all sorts of forms. And some of it with persons who may come in illegally, but trafficking takes place through, on the face of it, quite normal legal channels. And the law which we have before us is very comprehensive, and the criminal penalties very severe. extremely long terms of imprisonment, some cases 15 years, 20 years more. This law has 6 parts. The first part is a preliminary part. The second part, criminal offenses and related provisions. The third part, assistance and protection of victims of trafficking. The fourth, misuse of commercial transportation. And the fifth, the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons. And there's a very strong institution which is being set up here across ministries and with other non-governmental entities for a task force against trafficking in persons. And then a general section with an important provision of the necessity of the minister to lay an annual report in this Honourable House in relation to this subject. Mr. Speaker, and it is important to note the important section of a consequential amendment to the Proceeds of Crime and Money Laundering Prevention Act, where persons who are involved in trafficking would be also coming under the provisions of that particular statute and to make the necessary submissions. So this is because people traffic in persons for money. And if we can address proceeds of crime and money laundering, certainly that particular dimension of it, for instance, the FIU, the financial dimension, would be addressed in that way institutionally, in addition to all the other focal points which we'd have in the implementation of this bill. I think I've said enough on the broad policy issues. I know that one or two other honourable members may wish to speak on this matter. This bill has come out of the Select Committee with unanimous support, so I don't expect any controversy on this matter on the floor of the House. I'm obliged.